Travis Kelce has 2 touchdowns. He does the heart to Taylor.
Did he do that? I saw him touchdown and then heart.
He did the heart.
But that was up at Taylor?
The suite. He looked at the suite and gave the heart.
Wow.
And there was some questionable calls. My suspicion is the NFL is like,
I agree.
We need this to keep going.
I totally agree.
That's why they're a great business.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep that going. If he's throwing hearts at the Super Bowl, it's the biggest Super Bowl ever.
Yeah. So they go to play ball. They go to Baltimore. They play Lamar Jackson, who's going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
Who's playing lights out.
Right.
And their defense is phenomenal. Baltimore's going to be favored. I think they're favored by 3.5 points.
Really?
Buffalo was favored today, and the Chiefs won.
Those refs are going to be
throwing flags left, right.
David Blaine on next weekend. They're going to be every little trick they can.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Okay, what is up, Kathy's? So we'll get to that. Dee's still out. Dee's still gallivanting around Europe.
Till Wednesday night.
Wow. 10 days.
Yeah.
Wow. And he took Hav with him, which is just... So, like, I'm guessing it's just nonstop comedy and entertainment, but we don't really know.
Yeah, we haven't gotten full check-ins. We're getting tidbits.
I saw you wrote in the group chat, "Where are you?" And he wrote, "I don't know."
Which is a weird response.
Yeah, I mean, does he not know what country? Does he not know what hotel?
It's unclear. So we've been telling Hav since Friday.
For the listener, if you don't know, Hav is Dee's assistant.
Right.
And, you know, the boys, and we've had all these talks.
Yeah. And we know we're going to get Dee's perspective when he comes back.
Yep.
But we wanted the other
right
perspective of someone that has not experienced all this.
Yeah.
So we were just asking him, hey, send us a video. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
So we asked him on Friday in preparation for tonight, which is Sunday night.
Yeah.
And we had to beg him. And then finally Sunday, is he big timing us?
I mean, maybe he's hanging around a lot of celebrities.
I'm with Pharrell, right. I don't need to talk to you guys. Right. Is that one of those things?
That's what I'm going to take from it.
And so he finally sends a video to me and Josh.
I was going to say, there's no video in here.
There's no video in the main chat.
Yep.
And he sent it to me and Josh. And it was much ado about nothing.
Well, what was it?
It was...
Crowd.
I haven't slept. I haven't done anything. I mean, he's done work, obviously. I haven't slept. I got to London. I saw Big Ben. I saw that you stupid Ferris wheel. These are his words, not mine. Okay. So I'm not offending any British people that listen to the pod.
It's only Hav.
And he's like, it was freezing. It was probably 30 degrees. I've never been in this cold of weather. And I was like, 30 degrees is you need a jacket.
It's not that bad. Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then he just kept rambling about Paris, talked about their shitty table, how he booked it.
Oh.
And I thought about this after our last episode. So if you think about, this might be Dee's error. So if you think about, Dee was with Jad from William Morris, who reps Pharrell.
Yeah.
Pharrell is the biggest thing going on in the week.
Yep.
He's also with Anish, who's the CEO of LVMH North America.
Yep.
They should have made the res, not Javier.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about the juice of those. One of those two made the res.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. How did that even happen?
I think Dee was just wanting to be proactive about it.
Right.
And then he just said he's in Milan. He was in a weird hotel room. I don't know. It's not much substance.
Well, listen, Kathy's. I think what the best thing to do is on. It looks like it'll be next Sunday.
No, I think what we do is they get back Wednesday night. Let's record Thursday.
I'm down.
Let's push Wednesdays to Thursday.
Yeah.
So that we get the full recap.
I'm down. I'm totally down. But either way, I think we have to hear it from him. And I also want to hear, because Dee will call him out.
Mm-hmm.
What really happened with the res? Did he do something wrong? Did he forget things? How did the whole thing go? I want both sides here.
Yes. 100%.
It'll be gold content, I think.
Amazing content. And so Hav, I would say let me down.
With the video?
I consider him a good friend.
Right.
Give me some substance. We've been asking you for 72 hours.
My hope is that it's just a reflection of how like scrambled he actually is.
It doesn't sound like he slept. He said the most sleep I've gotten is in Ubers.
Well, that's good. That's good. That'll test your willpower. I don't even know where I'm going with this. This weekend, I just happened to stumble upon, why did this happen? YouTube gave me something in my algorithm. I don't know. I got a handful of content about like Gen Z's like work style, and like quiet quitting and burnout. And, there was this lady giving a speech that was like, burnout isn't only when you feel burnt out, even if you're just all you can think about is handling your emails and handling your work, but you feel productive, that's also burnout.
Yep.
So I'm like, great. So we're just telling people, young people especially, that if you're working really hard, happy or not, you're burnt out and you need to take a break.
And we've seen multiple people that have come through our universe that specifically have worked directly for Dee.
Yeah.
That haven't done like the multi-country run.
Yeah.
That think they're like all in, I'm bossing up.
Yeah.
And I don't want to name names, but we have those people.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later they quit. They said they're burnt out.
Yeah.
Says Hav, what are you going to do? I know you're about to listen to this.
Right.
In Milan.
Well, and that's what's weird about, like, not to go too deep, but like we have this weird thing going on in our culture right now. I mean, look, we talk about business a lot. This is a business topic, is like, I think on one hand, we're telling everyone, and what I'm saying is Hav is working his fucking ass off right now.
Yes.
But like, if you think about it, so is Dee. So like the assistant and the owner of the company are doing the same thing. It's not like Dee's sleeping and saying, yo, Hav, go do all this shit while I'm getting some beauty sleep.
Yep.
And everyone that I know that's built anything or built a life for themselves has worked really, really hard, at least for a long period of their life. So on one hand, we're telling everyone like, you're burnt out, you need to relax, you need to quiet quit, you need to whatever. Like another big thing that I saw that's a trending topic on TikTok is like lazy girl job or lazy boy job.
I don't know that.
It's like, oh, you find a job that they don't really check on you and you don't have a lot of responsibility and you can kind of hide what you're really doing. And it's called a lazy boy job or a lazy girl job. So we're telling people like, that's the culture you should follow. But then on the other hand, we're sort of like demonizing these successful people. So we're just setting you up to like, not only like not get that outcome for yourself, but to hate the people who did. And it's just really strange.
Yeah. I also think the influencers in the health space.
Yeah.
They're pushing the 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And I get it.
Yeah.
The science says it.
Right.
There's no question about it. That's the right way to go.
Right.
But if you want to actually outperform your peers, you can't sleep 8 to 10 hours.
I mean, 10 is absurd. 8's crazy. I can't get 8 to save my life, but 10 is just indulgent. But yes, they are pushing it.
They're pushing it.
Yeah.
And I think kids are, listening to Huberman and Greg Brecka and like sleep's the most important thing.
Right.
Like, the sleep's the most important thing if you don't have to worry about your finances.
And also I will say you can work not on a sprint overseas like what Javier's on right now, but most days, 90% of his days, Javier can sleep 8 hours a night if he wants. Mm-hmm. Even Dee could sleep 8 hours a night if he wanted.
He chooses not to.
Right. Like what I'm saying is like most people, you can work your fucking ass off and get 8 hours.
You can get 6 to 7. 8,
right.
I think, is tough.
I just physically can't sleep for 8 hours.
I can't sleep 8 hours. No chance.
It takes like something to exhaust me.
Yeah.
Like I have to have stayed up all night the night before or something. But anyway, my point is like, if you really value sleep and Gary Brecka and Huberman, you can get it and still work really hard. But it's just once you get in your social time and your Instagram time and your whatever.
But also like work is complex. So you have to be in the office from whatever, call it 9:30 to 6. And then if you're not out networking and doing those things and you're out of the loop.
True.
or if you're not doing calls when you get home,
Yeah.
you can't go to bed at 9 p.m. and expect to be Jeff Bezos.
No, you can't. Especially while you're in the figuring it out phase. You know? Like even Jeff Bezos did that famous interview that everyone still quotes where he talks about how he likes to putter in the mornings. Doesn't take a meeting till 10.
Yeah, he did that after he was worth $100 billion.
Right.
I don't think that Jeff Bezos that did the 60 Minutes interview where he's driving a Camry.
Amazon sign. He wasn't puttering.
No, he was not
Camry
puttering.
was puttering, but he wasn't. Yeah. It's just interesting. I'm not even trying to like rant. I'm just saying that I feel like we're setting young people up to fail by empowering this like burnout, take care of yourself, like all this stuff culture, and also just making successful people bad by nature. Oh, they stole it. They did it on the backs of other people, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to end up to a lot of really unhappy adults. They're like, wait a minute. I grew up hating those people, not even asking what they were doing to get there. And I was too busy like tweeting about my lazy boy job.
Yeah, I can guarantee if you spend ages 22 to 33 sleeping 8 to 10 hours a night, you're going to wake up at 33 and start complaining why you aren't where you wanted to be.
Right. But you're not going to have bags under your eyes.
No, you'll
That's
look great. But you can get fillers and Botox now.
Right.
So
You absolutely can. And that's just, you got to choose, I think, to a degree. I think you got to look at how happy Jeff Bezos is now.
yes,
Puttering,
he's puttering
new
all day.
wife, yacht. Great. That's possible. But you can't putter at 22.
No.
I don't know. It just came to my mind when I just respect, obviously Dee, works his ass off, but there's certain people, we'll see how Javier might be miserable. He might quit next week, but I respect the work of it all. So either way, Kathy, stay tuned. We'll get an update. Yep. Another thing I just wanted to mention is there was another YouTube comment that I wanted to highlight because the YouTube thing is really fun because, like I said, this isn't a sales pitch. It's that you can't comment on a podcast. So, we put little clips on TikTok and most people just roast us because they don't know who we are. And they're like, who the fuck are these, MAGA guys, or woke on it. But on a full episode, you get like a more nuanced take. So we had a comment to highlight. Josh, what does it say again?
Drama is the glue that holds woke Onin and MAGA D together.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's good.
I like that one. I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Accurate.
If you guys ever get into like a family, tussle, give me a call.
We might need to.
Yeah. I'll help you.
You might have to come for Thanksgiving
Conference
since you're not
me in.
going back to Ohio.
Yeah,
Just come to
guys.
LA.
Yeah, and I can tell my parents, hey, I'm kind of the glue that holds the guys together. I had to stay. Okay, so check us out on YouTube. Josh, remind me just group chat podcast. If you search that, it comes up.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Group Chat News.
Group chat news on YouTube. Not only go, so I'm not just I have no reason to send you to YouTube from anywhere else. If you're listening, you're listening. But when you go over there, if you do, comment because we do look at it. And one of the cool things about our show that we always say repeatedly is that, you guys, our listeners, are like really smart and informed and like have good takes or just good jokes. It's not like we hate our audience and we don't even like to hear from you. So make sure you comment. We'll check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
It helps inform our episodes. Last thing before we get into news, big sports weekend.
Huge.
So I can't wait I can only imagine if we've been talking about these NFL numbers leading up to now, this weekend must have been bananas.
Yeah, I think we were averaging, not we, because we're not the NFL.
Unfortunately.
I wish we were.
Right.
But the NFL, I think, was averaging 30 million per game.
That's so
I would
absurd.
suspect the Chiefs Bills exceeds 40 million.
Right. That was a great game.
Great game.
I
Even
watched
you
it.
watched it.
I watched it.
So yeah, we're talking
And I'll be honest with
well
you,
over 40.
all I did today was turn these games on this is the part where I like to be in the know. So I just want to know, like, okay, Now it's down to 4 teams. These guys are going to go in the Super Bowl. Now I can start to get a little invested. So this is essentially my NFL season is the last 3 weeks.
Which is great.
Right. So now I'm trying to figure out who my favorite is, what storyline I like, all that stuff. And so I just turned it on today periodically to be in the know. But then the Chiefs-Bills game, I just couldn't turn off because it was just constant scoring.
And
Constant. Now they're in the lead. They're in the lead. They're in the lead.
Yeah.
Great game.
Great game. So the
Taylor
Chiefs,
won.
Yeah. Taylor was in the building. Jason Kelce, did you see the clips of him?
With his shirt off?
Shirt off. Pre-game was with the Bills Mafias, which they call the fans.
Yeah.
He went to like some random tailgate, took a massive shot, was crushing beers in the suite. After, I think it was Travis Kelce's, he scored 2 touchdowns actually. So he had a great game.
Yeah, he did.
He jumped from the suite into the stands to crush beers with the Bills fans with his shirt off. And it's probably it was snowing.
At 10 degrees or something?
Something crazy.
Yeah.
And he's just building this storyline. Now you have Jason Kelce and Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's obviously as big as it gets, but Jason Kelce is one of the more well-known NFL guys because of their podcast.
Yep.
And Travis Kelce has 2 touchdowns. He does the heart to Taylor.
Did he do that? I saw him touchdown and then heart.
He did the heart.
But that was
and
up at Taylor?
The suite. He looked at the suite and gave the heart.
Wow.
And there was some questionable calls. And my suspicion is the NFL is like,
I agree.
We need this to keep going.
I totally agree.
That's why they're a great business.
Yeah. I mean, you got to keep that going. If he's throwing hearts at the Super Bowl, it's the biggest Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, so they go to play ball. They go to Baltimore. They play Lamar Jackson, who's going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
Who's playing lights out.
Right.
And their defense is phenomenal. Baltimore's going to be favored. I think they're favored by 3.5 points.
Really?
Buffalo was favored today, and the Chiefs won.
Those refs are going to be
throwing flags left, right.
David Blaine on next weekend. They're going to be every little trick they can. Did Jason Kelce, I forgot to ask you this, did Jason Kelce retire?
No, they thought he was going to, but they haven't officially said he's retiring. But there was, on Twitter, they were saying both Travis and Jason Kelce are retiring. So just walk through this.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's won multiple Super Bowls. Let's see what happens this year.
Yeah.
There's no question he's one of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Yeah.
He's dating the most famous person in the world.
Yeah.
If he decides to go back next year, he has to train the whole year, and then he has a season. She is on tour worldwide.
Right.
All of next year.
Yep.
So how does that relationship work if he does not retire?
He's got to retire. You got to do the right thing.
I mean, isn't it logical? Because if she's on a world tour going from country to country, he's in Kansas City doing OTAs.
I mean, if he marries Taylor Swift and gets paid, which they both should, Travis and Jason, some ungodly amount to be media personalities, they should instantly. Why would you ever want to play football again?
I totally agree.
Imagine that life. You're Taylor Swift's husband and you're the biggest media personality, partly because you're Taylor Swift's husband, with you and your brother, and you get to just travel the world with Taylor Swift. If I'm Pfizer, I'm matching his career earnings.
So his career earnings with his last contract is probably around $70 million.
Okay.
But taxes, agents,
right,
lawyers, and if he has to fulfill the rest of his contract.
Right.
So he has to play next year and the year after.
Oh, his contract is through 2 more years.
2 more years.
That's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
I bet you he has made not more than 7. So what do you think he's, okay, minus, I think you were right in the ballpark of 25 net, but gross, let's say without doing the next 2 years, how many years was the deal?
It was a 4-year, $52 million or something.
So if he quit at the end of this year, he'd be halfway through?
Correct.
Oh, so nothing. And it's not guaranteed. And like he doesn't get that, right?
If you leave, no, you don't get it. So he'll be net of lawyers, agents, taxes. You're talking max he would have cleared 25, 30 in
So
his
you're
pocket.
telling me, I'm sorry for holding it up here, but you're telling me 70 million, roughly 4 or 5 year deal that he's halfway through. And in the NFL, do you get paid like yearly? Like
You get a bonus up front.
Right.
And then you get paid your annual.
So let's just say he's been paid 30, 35 million.
Sure.
Then less agents, managers, lawyers, taxes.
Right. The rule of thumb that I've been told for celebrity contracts is 35% of the headline number is what they take home.
He's got to quit. He's got to quit. If he wins a fucking Super Bowl, especially, you have to quit. He
has to quit either way.
He will make so much more. I mean, I wonder how much Pfizer paid him.
Yeah, he might. I mean, there you go. $5 million a year, probably.
If I'm Pfizer, I mean, I guess they probably did that deal before.
They did it before.
Jeez, man, talk about a deal. That guy Pfizer came up. If you locked in a deal with him right before the Taylor Swift news, you got.
They 100% did.
But now I just saw him on State Farm.
That was before too.
Yeah, he's got to quit.
I'm getting spammed like FICO credit score apps with Travis Kelce.
He's got to quit. He's got to quit and go sign some media deal. What do you think? Do you have any idea how much Pat McAfee makes?
He has an $85 million contract.
For fuck's sake.
So, and for context, Tony Romo
Right.
makes $18 million a year to work 16 days a year.
That's the sickest
Joe
thing
Buck,
ever.
same, $18 million.
You got to quit. He should make more over the next 5 years than the last 5.
100% he will.
Not playing football.
Well, yeah, playing football, you're lowering your career earnings because you're leaving at the top. This guy just had 2 touchdowns in a huge playoff game that I'm guessing more than 40 million people watched.
Right.
And he did the heart.
Did the heart.
I have a friend whose whole family is Chiefs fan. They took a picture in front of their TV,
Doing the heart.
with like 10 kids.
You got to quit. You got to quit. I just don't get it. Plus, every year you're just racking up the CTE.
CTE, hip replacements, knee replacements.
You know what blew my mind? I saw a dude today in one of the games. I don't know if you just caught this because it was a really small moment. I think it was a Bills guy. I believe was running the ball, landed kind of weird and just slammed the side of his helmet against the ground. He was down on the ground for a minute. They pulled him out in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So that's like the most mellow. Like that must happen all the time.
All the time. And there was a clip. Do you know who Julian Edelman was? Who played. Now he's like got a podcast.
Yep.
And I forget who was on with him. He was his teammate. He said when he got drilled as a punt returner and he'd see stars, they had like a protocol because they get paid on incentives, like how many games you play, how many receptions.
Right.
And it would be like the other guy coming in knowing he's concussed and say like, just say it's your knee. It's 2 p.m. We're down 7-3. It's Sunday because that's what they're going to ask you when you get to the tent. And he's like, got it. And then he'd go and just say like, it's 2 p.m. We're down 7-3. And he gets back
And my
in the
knee
game.
hurts. And they're like, get back out there, son. Oh, shit.
And this is a player's perspective talking about it.
That's so
because they don't want
bad.
to lose the incentives.
I mean, you must be. I would imagine if it only takes that to, go to concussion protocol, like that's happening in practice.
Every play.
Right.
Someone's concussed every play.
Yeah, you got to quit. You got to quit. Go travel the world with Taylor. Go finish her tour. And those videos of him waiting for her when she runs off stage and she jumps into his arms. Go do that everywhere.
The crowd will melt.
Go international. The crowd will melt. All you're doing, every time one of those clips goes viral on TikTok, there goes your media pay through the roof.
And then you come back and you'll be, making $20 million a year.
Okay, well, We got that figured out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, either way, now I'm invested. So congratulations to me. Actually, my NFL season started today, and it was a great first day. And I can't wait for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Last thing is real quick sports on my end. Last night was a big UFC fight. Anand, you said you watched it?
I did.
That makes me very happy.
Because it was late, though.
It was very late.
Didn't start till 10 p.m. Pacific. So it's 1 a.m. Toronto time.
Yeah. Very late.
I was looking on Twitter to see when it would actually start.
Yeah.
And I knew there was a women's match
Yep. Which
before.
was so boring.
And then at like 9:45, I was like, it still hasn't started.
Yeah.
And then I bought it at 9:50 thinking it would be over soon. There's still another 10 minutes. And then
which is wild to me because
they got to bring that up a little earlier. You can't have the prize fight.
that's what I'm saying. You live in New York. It's on at 1 a.m.
Yeah, how are you watching?
That's absurd. Anyway, so they had the headline fight. Look, the rest of the fights were kind of shitty. The women's fight was really bad. Not because it was women. Sometimes their fights are pretty good, but these two ladies just were Cricketville. And so there was a lot of backlash about that. But
Yeah, I saw the last round. She just laid there.
yeah, and she was
Just kept
losing.
getting kicking.
She was losing and she was laying on the ground with her hands behind her head.
Just tap out, right?
Stupid. No, it's just like, well, just don't do that. I mean, that's what you would do if you were winning. That move is if you're winning and you want them to just let you up. Maybe they're scared to wrestle with you because you're a better wrestler and you want them to they're just going to let you up. So you're just chilling, like, come get me. But that girl was losing and that girl also is the better wrestler. So like you have to get up and go try to.
Yeah, she gave up.
Right. So stupid. It sucks for, from an event perspective, but main event, Sean Strickland, which man, he stirred up so much media. And then there was a really big moment. So main event, Sean Strickland, Dracus du Plessis, Sean Strickland lost. A lot of people thought Sean Strickland should have won. I don't know. I'm pretty split, but I would have to go back and watch it again. There's definitely a valid case for Sean Strickland should have won, but it wasn't like a complete robbery. But I think the big news, so Sean Strickland before the fight was asked by a reporter about like the LGBTQ community. And to be honest, like Sean Strickland is a wild person, but the guy kind of like baited him a little, like, you're going to get your soundbite. And he got it. He went off about how, it's weak to not mind having a gay son, I guess, was kind of the gist of it. So obviously, everyone went crazy and canceled him and canceled the event. But then afterwards, the press in the post press conference, one of the media guys asked Dana, like, don't you think you should, tighten it up a little bit? And he went off on him for saying he should control what his fighters say. So I don't know. I mean, it was wild. It's great publicity for the fight world. They love it. They said that the cheers in the stadium were similar to Conor McGregor for Sean Strickland in Canada.
Yeah, one of the commentators during the match said Strickland has the potential to be Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Because he can stir up the crowd. He can do the antics.
Yeah.
The controversy.
Yeah.
It sells. I mean, think about what Floyd Mayweather did.
Right.
It's like the crazier you are and you have to perform.
Yep.
But he lost.
Right. If he would have won that fight, he is a mega star.
Yeah. I think he gets a step back because you can talk all your shit and be as controversial as you want.
Right.
But you got to win.
The problem is Conor had was such a wild personality, but had some pretty sensational knockouts. And
this guy's not a knockout guy, right?
No.
He just drills you to death.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, whatever. But as far as entertainment goes, top tier. I just wonder if props to Dana for saying he's always stuck to this is the fight business. People are wild. They're going to be wild. This is fighting. And there
was even a fuck Justin Trudeau chant.
Yeah, chant. Yeah. In Canada. But my question is that stuff still airs on ESPN. Yeah,
ESPN Plus. That's where
that's Disney. You can't tell me there's not phone calls being made. I know Dana's saying no, they asked him, did anyone call you? He said 0 people, 0 calls. I'm just not buying it.
I buy it because I think Disney ESPN's hands are tied. Their
with them.
businesses are
Right.
their broader business.
But
They don't have a lot to stand on right now.
But why on one hand you keep making these like woke ass movies?
And then allow this
Yeah.
because this is probably working.
Right. But then shouldn't that inform your like, did you see the new thing? There's a new thing happening with one of their new movies where the woman on stage said like,
Star Wars.
yeah, she said there's nothing, I love annoying men or something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently that was years ago. I think that was like a
Old clip.
but they just can't catch a break. I'll say on that one, that's a little bit of a reach because it's old. If they didn't like, if she's going on a press tour now and saying that and they haven't sort of talked to her, then yeah, you're bad. But like the internet, like when you're losing, it makes sure you keep losing.
Yeah, they keep bringing it up.
Yeah. Anyway, so the good news for me is that like the fight, that was the first fight of the year. So now fighting's back. There's a big lull in like boxing and MMA over the holiday. So we're back. Okay, let's get into some news. First thing, Chick Fil A. Let's just talk about Chick Fil A. I mean, Chick Fil A as a business absolutely crushes.
Yeah.
I know people love it. I know some people might be listening to this like, yeah, I fucking love Chick Fil A. But I just as a business, far and above a lot of their competition.
And they're not even open 7 days a week.
Right. That's wild. And Sunday, I would imagine, has to be one of the biggest fast food days.
I would guess because people are like coming home from soccer games
Right.
and
With their kids.
or
Taking their kids. You would think that normally like school days, you're having dinner at home, whatever. So soccer games, kids weekend, also watching all these sports. And they just close.
So Chick Fil A, so it's average unit sales per restaurant, so per
Mhm.
franchise, if it's corporate owned, whatever. Chick Fil A does $6.7 million a year per unit.
Yep.
Raising Cane's is $5.4 million, which is number 2. Shake Shack 3.8 million. McDonald's 3.6 million, and then I'll just go down to like the chains that we all know. Del Taco 1.6. So
Wow.
think about that delta.
That's huge.
Burger King 1.5, Carl's Jr. 1.5, KFC 1.3, Domino's 1.3. Subway's $510,000
The fuck are they doing?
compared to 6.7 million for Chick-fil-A.
How many Chick-fil-A's are there?
I mean, it's just staggering how this franchise or this concept, like I don't eat meat, so tell me.
For the record, I also just want to point out, Chick-fil-A has 3,000 restaurants. Raising Cane's, who is number 2 and quite a bit behind, only has 700. So that's even way crazier.
So it's not hard to get a Chick-fil-A.
Are they're a franchise?
I don't know, actually.
I don't either. But to do that volume, that's average dollars per store.
Per store. So there's some doing more. Think about that.
Right. They must have some superstar locations that do like 12 million a year.
So there's a Chick-fil-A that's in the Atlanta Falcons stadium. The Falcons play on Sunday.
Right. How much is that doing?
So you're just banking on concerts and like soccer games? What do you...
How much would you guess that does compared to the 6?
I bet you it's more. Because the entire city just wants to go and get Chick-fil-A.
And to do all of that and to have one full day off. What do you know? Does that article point out any whys? Like, what's their secret?
No, it doesn't. This was just like a data gather.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chick-fil-A does offer qualified individuals to operate a franchise restaurant.
That's a home run. And also like extremely, minimal menu.
Yeah, so if you were to be like, hey, this is my cheat day for the week,
Yeah.
and you have to go through fast food.
In and out.
Wow.
Yeah.
In-N-Out doesn't have public data, so who knows what their numbers are.
But Chick Fil A's up there. I mean, I would say probably In-N-Out, Chick Fil A. I don't feel too shitty after eating Chick Fil A.
Are you off Wendy's?
Yeah, big time.
Wendy's was down on the list.
Way down. It used to be high, but if I eat Wendy's, I feel it. I don't really. I have to actually be careful with like In-N-Out and Chick Fil A because I don't really feel it.
And you're like, oh, I feel fine.
Right. It's really easy to be like, I'll just do it again. Just do it tomorrow. You know, but it doesn't, I don't know. But I would imagine too, with like that minimal of a menu, they must have a tight operation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to me the difference between you have to wait at Chick Fil A. So if you're like a family with kids, you're driving in whatever suburbia you are, and you have an option between McDonald's, Burger King, Chick Fil A. You'd rather wait with your screaming kids for 30 minutes to go through that drive-thru.
Because they're screaming that they want Chick Fil A. You know, take those little brats through McDonald's and they're like, fuck you, Mom. I'm never shutting up. At least they shut up once they get some warm chicken sandwiches in their hands.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Well, props to them. Okay, another thing absolutely crushing it is the stock market. So, you know, the stock market, we talked about it actually at the end of last year, was up. The S&P was up 20% and some change for the year. Really, the end of the year, it went on like a big rally. I also will say, just my own opinion, like then I saw a lot of, you know, it started to kind of slump a little bit at the very beginning of the year, and saw a lot of posts and a lot of takes about how the recession is finally here and the soft landing was bullshit and whatever. And I'll be honest, some of them I was like, oh, that makes sense. You know, like, are we really going to, I think Dee or somebody predicted that the market would be flat for the year.
Yeah.
But we're ripping. We're at all-time highs.
So yeah, stock market all-time highs. Inflation's back to 3%. So inflation creeped up.
Okay.
And had no effect on the markets. You can still earn 5% on your cash in any CD.
Yeah.
Because of interest rates.
Yeah.
Sub 4% unemployment rate. So still everyone's employed. Anyone who wants a job can get a job.
Yep.
Consumer spending's all-time high. These are all, like, if you think about the confluence of those numbers that I just rattled off, none of it makes sense.
It's the best of times.
The best of times, and you would think it should be the worst of times.
Right, but there also is like very real. Number one, there's a lot of layoffs happening still. Simultaneous with all those numbers. There's a lot of real, you know, word from big retailers saying that foot traffic is down.
But are they laying off corporate jobs or in-store jobs? That's a big difference. Well, because the corporate is like a fraction of.
Agreed.
Like if Walmart says we're laying off 1,500 people in corporate, it really is not effect on their hundreds of thousands of people they hire across.
Agreed. But I was actually, when I said layoffs, I was more talking about like the Spotify layoffs and like, I feel like there's a lot of layoffs in the news still.
There are. It would be, I wish someone, would be a more interesting stat is layoffs by salary.
Right.
So if you saw who's getting laid off, is it the north of six-figure person or is it the sub six-figure person?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's just the stock market has not, or the economy as a whole has not made any sense to me since 2020.
I don't think it's made sense to anyone, and everyone's been guessing left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And no one knows where to land. And I just go back to with the stock market, while everyone's confounded of why the U.S. stock market is still going up. And from my perspective, there's nowhere else at scale. If you're a $1 trillion asset manager, where else are you going to put your money?
Right.
You can't put it in China. You can't put it in Europe. You got Ukraine and Russia. You got Middle East.
Yeah.
Where else?
Yeah. Plus we got all this damn boomer money.
The boomer money's coming.
It just doesn't.
I think we're good for 20 years.
We gotta be. Yeah. Because I don't, like, they also keep talking, credit is at an all-time high, the credit bubble.
Yep.
They also keep talking about like the tail end of Stimmy and all that stuff. But like, what are you talking about, man? They didn't give people that much money.
Yeah,
You know
the
what I mean?
Stimmy's not like what if we were giving $600?
Right. They keep talking about like, well, the Stimmy's running out. It's 2024.
Yeah, the Stimmy was 2020.
Yeah, how much do these motherfuckers make? You give them $1 million? What are you talking about?
I agree. I totally agree. I think the Stimmy is totally misleading in terms of how people have the capital to keep this economy humming.
Here's one thing I wonder, kinda, is like, do we just live in a time of such like doom and gloom on like social media and media that that's why it doesn't make sense? When like actually like the economy's just doing pretty well. There's a lot of money on the sidelines.
I would say that typically, but how fast interest rates ratcheted up,
Right.
and how it had zero effect on the larger economy. It affected commercial real estate and regional banks. So it cratered those two pockets, but that doesn't affect a lot of people.
But is there a domino that just hasn't fallen? Like what I wonder is there someone big? Like let's just say even more regional banks because of lending to corporate real estate development. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like that someone's just white knuckling right now, still not out of the high interest rate, like just trying to get through that could fall.
At scale?
Yeah.
No, because I think if what happened in 2008 was single family homes, which is the majority of real estate.
Yeah.
In terms of impacting actual number of individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe commercial real estate in aggregate, I don't know the numbers between commercial real estate in aggregate versus single family homes.
Yeah.
But who it affects personally?
Yeah.
It's a fraction.
I'm just trying to think of like who, and this is where like
For example, the guy who owns our building owns all the buildings on Wilshire.
Yeah.
So if he's screwed, and like 15 buildings go under.
But does a bank
gets screwed?
And then does that like, you know what I'm saying? Is there a domino there? There's obviously
then Jamie Dimon just takes over everything.
Right. Because there's obviously a lot of business models that just no longer work at these interest rates.
Yeah.
And so if all of those, if we don't, I'm guessing there's a lot of people just trying to get through, hoping that they go back down and their business model works again. And I just wonder if the clock will run out before, but you're probably right. I mean, it just goes to Jamie Dimon. And now all the banks are just First Republic.
Yeah. I mean, I think in California also, restaurants are having trouble because minimum wage has gone up. I've seen so many restaurants in pretty high profile areas go out of business.
Yeah.
And this is post-pandemic, post-lockdown, so everything's back. And I asked, our friend in the restaurant business, and he was like, look, with minimum wage this high, rent this high, insurance this high, it's impossible to make money.
Yeah.
That's completely separate from.
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Look, if your money's in an S&P index, you're hyped today. Because even through all of this shit and inflation and all that, the crazy thing to me is now I don't know what that means. What probably from January of 23, it's probably up 28, close to 30%.
Yeah, it was 24 last year. You're up probably another 3-4%.
Crazy.
And the futures are up right now for tomorrow.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well. You know who is up is Donald J. Trump, because he just lost one more competitor. Ron DeSanctimonious, as he's been called, has suspended his presidential campaign. I'm not real good at this stuff, but I guess, this is the part. I know they're doing the caucuses and everyone's kind of seeing where they really stand for being the nominee. Ron just wasn't even close. Nikki Haley not close either, but she's still holding on, I guess.
Yeah, it's just Nikki Haley and Trump.
So Vivek, went over. We talked about it. Went over to the Trump fan club. DeSantis obviously endorsed Trump. What a fall from grace, sort of. I guess if you want to call it that, or maybe a loss of momentum. Like Ron DeSantis was really set up. It looked like
he was
after COVID,
and this is part of the social media thing.
Yeah.
everyone thought Vivek Ramaswamy had this like huge momentum.
Yeah.
Like there's an alternate candidate other
Right.
than Trump. DeSantis, same. Look at what he did in Florida. Alternate candidate to Trump. DeSantis was taking shots as recently as a week ago,
At Trump.
saying like this is a terrible person, and they all just come back to him.
It's so dumb. It's the dumbest thing.
Why don't they just like say I'm suspending my campaign because it's a waste of campaign money,
Right.
and I'm going to move on and continue my career,
Right.
and just wait for him to move out. Even if he wins, he's out in 4 years.
Yeah.
Now you look like a clown.
They all do it. They all do it over and over and over again. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
And it's like vicious. I mean, you know how vicious Trump is with his
Yeah.
rhetoric.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think of his politics. And you have no backbone to just say like, hey,
Right.
I'm just going to keep being governor. I'll wait for him to leave and I'll get back into the.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like anyone's going to beat him. But still like.
You know what I think it is too? Is politics has always been this way. This is how it is. But I think it's more magnified with Trump because Trump is so like, will just call you out to your face. And then, these people feel the need to say he's a bad guy. And like, so it's a little bit more exposed. I think in older politics, it's a little more like
Backroom dealing.
Yeah. But I think even like the debates are like, hey, their policies aren't good for the country. I don't like their tax plan. And then when you have to bow out, you're like, I'll get behind them and hopefully I can contribute it. But it's not like he's a fucking cocksucker, and then you're like, fuck you. And then you're like, I am endorsing Trump. You have to really do this little dance.
I don't know. I just don't know it in my life. If someone were to call me a cocksucker piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then the next week I'm like, you're the man.
The man. And everyone should support this man.
And it doesn't even matter in any aspect of my life.
Yeah.
Whether it's business, personal.
Right. But that's why politics are so fucking stupid. And it's why, unfortunately, the type of it attracts psychos.
Well, it attracts spineless people.
Yeah, but it attracts like spineless, like egomaniacs, which is a weird combo.
Because now Vivek knows he's going to be in the spotlight for the next 4 years.
He'll have a podcast. Vivek's chat
He'll be
with
at
Vivek.
UFC 299.
Yeah, he will. You wonder who's the Democrat Vivek though, but except for it's working, is Mean Dean.
Dean Phillips?
Dean Phillips. I thought Dean Phillips was just a Democrat Vivek. Like meaning, cool, he's getting some buzz, but will have no chance. And he's starting to gain some ground.
He's gaining ground for sure. I just go back to what we read on social media, and it's just, I think the establishment is so established that they read the LA Times and they see who they endorse and they back them. Yeah. Because who's voting? It's 50 and 60-year-olds. Yeah. They're not listening to the All In Pod and listening to DeSantis's podcast or Vivek and saying like, oh, those are some ideas I'm interested in.
Yeah, they didn't catch Vivek on Full Send,
Yes, exactly. The actual voters aren't listening to any of these platforms that all these people are getting famous off of.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. I think that's also why, who knows, when the Joe Rogan, when we are 60, maybe that'll change. And there's a Joe Rogan that can truly
sway I think we're
election.
20 years off.
It also just reminds you why people still play that game. Even though the money is dwindling, the viewership is dwindling, there's a large group of actual voters who just will do whatever they say on their network.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, George Gascon, the DA, that if you were to talk to anyone in our circles, they'd be like, I'm not approving of what's happened in LA the last few years under his stewardship.
Yep.
And the LA Times just endorsed him.
Yeah.
For re-election. And guess who votes? The people that read the LA Times.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if you could, I wish you could do I'd love to see data on what percentage of the Full Send viewers vote.
5.
right? And then what percentage of the LA Times subscribers vote?
90%.
Right. I think you're right. Yeah. Damn it. That's a good point. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. But one more down, at this point, it's going to be Trump versus.
Biden. Yeah, 100%.
Don't you think there's still a chance of a switcheroo?
I don't think so.
You're
anymore.
telling me these motherfuckers, you're telling me.
Dude, November's 10 months, 11 months away. Not even, right? 9. We're about to be February?
Yeah.
February to 11, 2 to 11, 9 months?
You're telling me that Barack Obama and all of these people are sitting in rooms and calls while he's walking Bel Air Country Club and they're saying, yeah, I think Joe's got it. It's fucking crazy. And it's not that this is what would be crazy. It would be crazy if it was Joe Biden versus Ron DeSantis and they're like, Biden's going to win. And you know what? If we can keep him alive for 4 more years, we can do whatever we want. That would still be crazy because he's just not a good representation of the country. But to say the guy is Trump. And you have to feel like Trump in 2016 shocked me. It didn't shock his voters. They were like, yeah, no shit. You guys didn't see us. Right now, Trump winning, let's just say it was Trump's first election. It wouldn't shock me at all. Like you can feel the momentum. You can feel that things have changed. You can feel like influencers.
I mean, Jamie Dimon and Steve Schwartzman were at Davos talking about pro-Trump.
Chamath.
Yeah.
Like there's all these people that would have never said that. And you're going to fucking prop up a weekend at Bernie's?
The thing, the Democratic Party, the biggest flaw was you knew Biden won.
Yeah.
And year one, you should have figured out who the guy is you're grooming.
Yeah.
And Biden should have been on board.
Right.
And said, I'm going to groom, this person.
Right. Like, why? To me, that's like, oh my gosh, just barely. We bought ourselves 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to work to find the real guy.
Yes.
But you're telling me if you come back 4 years later and like, how about this guy again? Fuck.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay. Well, maybe Mean Dean will pull it out. All right. Couple last little quick ones is Shein is having some potential IPO problems. We talk about how they're looking to IPO and but there's a problem.
I think this is super fascinating.
Yeah.
Because we talk about how the U.S. economy and the U.S. government doesn't have any guardrails on Chinese companies.
Yep.
So ByteDance, TikTok,
right,
Shein, Temu. And we finally have our savior, the Chinese government.
Who would have thought?
The Chinese government is going to save the American consumer.
Who?
So Shein is technically based in Singapore.
Yep.
But all their suppliers are in China.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chinese government isn't happy about the data that they're collecting on all the suppliers and employees in China. And they're trying to railroad their IPO in the US and basically cut their legs off.
And what do you think would happen if you went and asked each congressperson what Shein is?
I would say
How many do you think no?
10% because their kids probably have a credit card on file.
Right. Who would have thought? This is not how I would have guessed that plays out.
That the Chinese government is going to stop the company that's catering U.S. retail.
That's like China being like, hey, you know what? Maybe we should take all the butts and tits off of TikTok. It's not good for the American kids. What?
I mean, so Didi, which was the Uber competitor in China, they went public and they didn't like what they were seeing and they filed a lawsuit. The stock cratered 80% and got delisted.
Yeah. It's just, what the fuck are we doing?
Why are we letting the Chinese government play police?
We're wild, man. This is the Wild West.
And Shein doesn't even sell in China?
They don't?
No. They sell in North America, South America, and Europe.
It's literally the fentanyl of fashion.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because all those fentanyl fucking labs and shit are in China too. They don't have a fentanyl problem. China.
Yes.
They're just shipping us all this shit.
But
Just tank tops and fentanyl.
that's the irony. We've been talking about this for years on this podcast. I
Right.
can't believe the U.S. government isn't doing anything about these Chinese companies.
That's fucking.
But the Chinese government is going to save us.
Hey, shout out to China, man. Who would have thought? God. Okay. Well, there's the news. And then last but not least, we actually were talking about fast food. And this is a interesting story because we've also talked a lot about the crime in everywhere, really. A lot of cities. But there's this In-N-Out burger. So we've heard of like Walgreens closing stores and some of these different people. Nordstrom's, I think, closed a store or two. There's an In-N-Out burger in Oakland.
Yep.
Which apparently is very profitable, which I would imagine all In-N-Out burgers are, because I've never seen one without a line. And they're going to close the doors, not because of anything on the business front, just because of the amount of robberies with staff and customers.
Yeah, so there's vandalism to customers. So you're in the line, someone just crowbarring your car.
Yep.
You go inside, someone just robs you, may do something to the sales associate.
Right.
And they said it's too much. They close it. So they're closing every In-N-Out is wildly profitable.
Yeah.
And they were just like, this isn't worth our time.
And keep in mind, like most of these places that are closing, it's because like the losses, the theft, it doesn't sound like these criminals are going in and stealing burgers.
No,
So like, I don't think it's hurting the
stealing
margin.
candies.
Right. It's just for the safety of their customers and employees. And that's just,
It's probably a brand thing. They don't want In-N-Out to be known as this place where you can just go get robbed. Because if it starts getting
right.
to spread.
Well, last week was a national news story. Man murdered at In-N-Out. It's just a bad affiliation.
I mean, the McDonald's right here looks like a crime-filled scene. Like I don't eat McDonald's, but even if I did, I would never walk in there.
You know what's really crazy is 12 years ago, a guy who was who worked on our show on MTV was murdered and robbed by a robber. I don't believe, unless something changed later in the story, that he knew the person, was robbed and shot on Wilshire, walking home. And I remember that was the scariest, craziest, like, whoa. If that happened today, it'd be like, he was walking at night.
Yeah.
He must have been crazy.
All right. Normally Dee leads a lot of these interviews, but, he's in Paris at Hotel Coast.
Okay.
Doing his thing. So anyways, we got Sneaker Steve here, who's been on the pod many times. He's got a new shoe. He's been on and, talked about his company. We can kind of rewind a little bit. You haven't been on for a while. I'd love to just hear an update and what you've been up to at LS Gray.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you to all the Cathys. You guys have been a part of every single part of the LS Gray launches. And together we've made history with all the Cathys. We launched the world's first sustainable clog. Then we launched the world's first safety certified shoe for the work industry made in North America. And today, I wouldn't be here with anything less. We're making history again with the first made in USA product of footwear for the work and recovery industry. So we're super, super excited. This is a historic day in footwear.
So tell me about what the innovation is and how the consumer is going to benefit from like a physical standpoint.
So the difference within this shoe is that this shoe will be able to provide more comfort. It's a higher quality shoe and also still have all the safety certifications. So if you work at a hospital or a restaurant and you need a non-slip shoe, you will have that as well. We're adding breathability and we're also increasing our sustainability in terms of bio-based. So we looked at the shoe across all different levels and made sure that we were adding more value and more quality into this product. And then for the first time ever made in USA here locally so that we could deliver it to you faster.
So where in the US are you making it?
We're keeping that under the wraps for right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But, there's been this huge movement of manufacturing in the USA. Obviously, Elon's doing it with Tesla. I think it's definitely, hey, let's do everything within the borders. And I think that's very admirable for you to, you're creating jobs, obviously, because you're manufacturing. And if this product takes off, then it's going to be great. And where can people buy it?
So we're releasing it January 22nd on Monday. It'll be on lessgray.com. And we have an incredible offer that if you buy it into the early bird price, you get it for 50% off. So the shoe costs $68 and you'll be able to buy it for $34.
Wow.
Just like unbelievable price. First time ever done at that price point.
That's great. And then are you going to do retail as well?
We are. So it'll be in all the major retailers as well for the fall. And, to your point on thinking about manufacturing, the Model 3 for Tesla was really a big part of our inspiration by focusing on the future of manufacturing, engineering with metal molds locally so that you don't have to produce goods around the world. You can actually invest into better products, better materials, ship shoes within the region that you're in by having local manufacturing for the first time that's actually more sustainable and creating green jobs in America, which is really a big part of our goal.
And, separate from obviously your shoe launch, obviously we're good friends and I've seen that you did a Stanford Business School class. Can you give us a little insight on what that did for you and how that helped you in business?
Yeah, so for us, we were part of the L-Band program at Stanford, which is 1,000 companies that are all Latino based. They represent $7.1 billion in annual revenue between that cohort. And we were a part of the companies that have been selected to be the top 3% of all Latino founded companies in America. What they've helped us to really understand is that for us to be the next 10, 100 million, $1 billion company is that we really need to have B2B business with large enterprise contracts and government contracts. They've also been incredible in terms of introducing us directly to some of the largest tech companies in the world, to their procurement officers and to the United States government and to the Department of Defense. Making product in USA allows us to have Berry Amendment compliance, which only 1% of footwear companies in the world have that. Mm-hmm. And now our company, AGS Labs, Les Gray, is part of the top 1% of footwear manufacturers in the world that can service at a first priority to the government and already having those introductions done through Stanford.
Yeah. So can you share any cool stories from the people you met? Because obviously Stanford is one of those universities where a lot of very successful people have come out of.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute dream come true. It's like, when you're on campus, I graduated through the GSB program. And when you're there, they're like, well, this is Meta. And this is the head of supplier diversity at Meta. Or this is the head of procurement at the Department of Defense. And they represent a $63 billion budget. And so it's not they're telling you, they're like, here in person is the introduction. Yeah. And they facilitate and help you do the business. When you meet with some of your classmates to know that it's real, they'll tell you, well.
And they're open to helping.
Well, they're focused on helping.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, these are the contexts. Here they are. So they give you the roadmap and the introductions. I think that was what was really, really special. Like it's literally called the Action Network. Yeah. It's a business action network. And to have that to me is just life-changing. The rooms that I'm in, the context that they've been able to provide are some of the most powerful people in the world. And right. To me, that's just been an absolute honor.
No, that's awesome. And I'm glad that these universities are, doing this because there's so much talent in the world and it's just finding the talent and giving them the roadmap, like you just said.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you're going to launch this shoe and January 22nd. And what else is on the roadmap for LS Gray?
So right now we're really excited to bring this forward. We've just been approved by the auditors at Taco Bell to bring shoes to Taco Bell.
Dee's favorite restaurant.
And for their employees to wear our footwear. It's really scaling. We're at the part where the company is really scaling. We're already at the largest retailers like Nordstrom, REI. And for us, it's really about bringing high quality, comfortable footwear made sustainably at affordable prices to the largest workforces in the country, which represent over approximately 70% of all jobs in America.
Right.
And this is like an overlooked, unseen population. And also just in general, like if you work out, if you're, whether you're playing tennis or golf or doing yoga or running and you need a shoe to recover in, there hasn't been high quality footwear. And if it has been made, it's all been 100% plastic and petroleum. And so there hasn't been something that's high quality, that's more comfortable, but then made sustainably. And that's really what we're focused on, is eliminating plastic from manufacturing. We have some secrets up our sleeve that we haven't announced publicly yet, but that is really our focus, is to eliminate plastics from manufacturing.
And I know you've attempted to break through the medical community. Has that worked?
It's been incredible. They actually came to us.
Okay.
And thanks to Group Chat and the Cathys, when we first launched our clog, they literally just came in droves to us.
Yeah.
It's just a testament to the Cathys in the community. They were just like, I want this. I need a shoe. I'm comfortable, And then what happened is we built organic relationships with doctors, here at Cedars-Sinai, doctors and nurses across the country, medical professionals. They're on their feet 10, 12 hours, 14 hours a day. Yeah. They're in extreme situations in terms of, whether they have, whether it's blood or urine on the floor. Like they're in really, really situations where they need high quality functional footwear. And we've been able to provide something to them that also looks good. Yeah. So typically, like that shoe that you wore for work is ugly. We've been able to create a good looking product that's more comfortable and more functional. And so the medical community is the largest work division in the country. So we're really excited to support them.
Is there a lot of red tape to get approved by hospitals?
There is, because of the certifications that are needed. Okay. So we are the only triple certified product in the market, where we're EN-ISO, ASTM, and ISCC Plus certification for our sustainability. So we have this unique business model where we've combined that and bring those certifications that are third-party reviewed, so that any of the procurement officers or the doctors know that they have the right paperwork or documentation for them to actually wear the shoes at work.
That's great. So why don't we just wrap up on how do people buy this 50% off shoe, and just recap exactly what it's going to do for them.
Amazing. So Cathys need all your support. Monday, January 22nd, go on alesgrey.com, ALESGREY.com, and you can purchase a shoe for 50% off. You're going to be buying a shoe that's more comfortable, higher quality, made in USA for just $34. So please tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers that history is being made here on Group Chat. And thank you so much. We're so excited.
Do they need a code, or everything's
No, they can just, it's already done, okay, already great. Ready for them.
Perfect. So all the Group Chat Cathys, go on January 22nd, buy this shoe, support our community. Sneaker Steve has been a big part of our community. And, that's what we want to do. Just help each other.
That's it. And share it. Share it with as many people as possible. And thank you, Cathys. We couldn't be here without you guys. You guys have been a part of since day one, and we continue to make history together. Thank you.
Okay, that does it for today's episode. We'll be back on, it depends, Wednesday or Thursday, because we do want to get a fresh off the plane interview from Javier and Dee. So
before they forget the memories.
Right, we want it to be fresh. We want them to still smell like Milan. But we do have a couple shout outs. We have one from Shiv to the Group Chat pod. I sincerely appreciate the twice a week episodes with no commercials. This is literally the only pod of the 4 I listen to that doesn't have any ads. Thank you. You're welcome, Shiv.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. There you go. From Mike T to my dog. Oh, to my literal dog. I thought you meant like to my dog.
Yeah.
To my dog for convincing me he deserves BarkBox from now on. So shout out to your dog.
Yeah.
And he must be a very strong, very persuasive dog. From Henry Nguyen, shout out to Dave Portnoy and pumping up Spirit stock. Oh yeah, that was a thing that happened. There was like a Davey Day Trader moment. Did you see that?
Yeah, of course.
What did he do?
I don't know how he got on it, but after the JetBlue Spirit merger fell apart, he just started going long Spirit, and he would just like highlight plane crashes. This isn't Spirit Airlines.
And then it went up. That's amazing. God damn it. Okay, here's one. This is all I'm going to say about this one. Happy birthday to Megan. Her birthday is January 19th. So we're a little late. Yep. Happy birthday to Megan, though. But you're a sneaky listener. And one thing that we've noticed is some of our listeners try to use these shout outs as free ads.
Mm-hmm.
And this person even went as far as adding a discount code.
Wasn't even a good discount.
It wasn't nearly as big as Sneaker Steve's discount.
No.
And, look, we love you guys, but we can't turn our podcast. These moments are to like legitimately shout people out. And we've seen some of the reactions. People get really surprised when they hear these shout outs. It's not really something for you guys to hack and do ads for your product. So we love you. Also, happy birthday, Megan. That's it.
That's it.
All right. Great episode. Everyone have an incredible week. And we'll talk to you on Wednesday or Thursday. Bye-bye.
Peace.